How's it going, everyone? I am Jinsula. I hope you're having a good day, and welcome to today's Pokémon Go raid guide video. We are about to see the return of the one and only Hoenn Legendary Pokémon Rayquaza. This is probably one of the most coveted shinies in the game. Fortunately, the raid boss is super easy to the point where you can even solo it. You will need the right counters and the right conditions in order to achieve this, but at the very least, it is an incredibly easy duo. I'm going to be explaining all of that in this video, so let's roll the intro and get right into it. Okay, let's talk about Rayquaza. So, without question, this Pokemon is one of the most beloved legendaries in the game. Whenever it returns to Pokemon Go's raid battles, it typically generates a lot of buzz within the community, almost to the level of Mewtwo. The reason for this is because Rayquaza has probably one of the coolest shiny forms in the game, and it is considered one of the best non-Shadow Dragon-type Pokemon. Eventually, it will get its Mega Evolution, which will elevate it to being the absolute best Dragon-type. Therefore, farming up this raid boss whenever it is out is typically a high priority within the Pokemon Go player base. Something else to consider is that Rayquaza will be getting the move Breaking Swipe in its arsenal. While it won't replace Outrage for raid DPS, it is still a phenomenal move that will be good in certain situations like Team Go Rocket battles. The nice thing about Rayquaza is just how easy it is as a raid boss. Let's go over how you can beat it. Rayquaza is a Dragon and Flying type Pokemon. That gives it a double weakness to Ice-type attacks, and a regular weakness to Dragon, Fairy, and Rock. It will have quite a few resistances, such as a double resistance to Ground and Grass, and regular resistances to Bug, Fighting, Fire, and Water. This Pokemon is incredibly easy. It is a Glass Cannon, which means it is going to have really low defense and stamina. However, it does have a really high attack, so you will want to watch out for some of its hard-hitting moves. Even if you bring the most ideal counters, you still run the risk of your Pokemon getting one-shot. Thus, I highly recommend you dodge as many of Rayquaza's charge attacks as you can. In terms of what the absolute best counters are, it's pretty straightforward. Since Rayquaza has a double weakness to Ice-type attacks, you will want to bring your absolute best Ice-type Pokemon. You don't have to worry too much about how defensive those Ice types are, even though Rayquaza is a Glass Cannon. It's basically going to be a DPS race. Right now, the absolute best counter you can bring is Shadow Mamoswine with Powder Snow and Avalanche. You could also bring other Shadow Pokemon with Ice-type attacks, like Weavile and Mewtwo. However, Shadow Mamoswine is going to be leagues above all of them. Now in terms of the Mega Evolution, the best ones you can bring are going to be either of the two Ice types that are currently available. This includes Mega Glalie or Mega Abomasnow. If you use either of these with Ice-type attacks, you will deal a substantial amount of damage against Rayquaza, and you will boost up the damage of other Ice types in the raid, which will speed up the victory. Other more budget-friendly Pokemon you can use include Galarian Darmanitan, regular Mamoswine, and Weavile. All three of these deal a hefty amount of Ice-type DPS, so they are great options if you are lacking in Shadow Mamoswine. Now, I mentioned earlier that Rayquaza is a super easy raid boss. If you bring the counters that I listed earlier, you'll be able to easily take down Rayquaza with just one other trainer. It's even possible to solo Rayquaza if you were to bring a full team of Shadow Mamoswine that are at least level 40 or higher. You will need something to boost up their damage, like a Snowy Weather Boost, and you will likely need to re-lobby a couple of times during that raid, so don't expect to succeed in a solo unless you are a hardcore player. However, I would suggest going with maybe 2 or more other trainers in order to secure a win. You could have a high level player with all of the right counters to carry you, but if you're really low level and don't have decent Ice types to back them up, you might actually struggle a bit here. So do keep that in mind if you're looking to take on this boss with the least number of trainers as possible. If you still don't have yourself a hundo of this Pokemon, then I suggest you raid until you do. It is one of the strongest Dragon-type Pokemon in the game, and just like I mentioned earlier, it will be the strongest once it gets its Mega Evolution. If you want that perfect IV, look for one that is 2191, or 2739 if it is weather boosted. Speaking of which, Rayquaza is going to be boosted by windy weather. Another thing to keep in mind as you raid this boss is that its shiny form is one of the most sought after with lucky trades. Getting a Shundo Rayquaza is on the bucket list of several players, as it is one of the coolest looking shinies in the game and one of the most relevant. If you need another reason to raid this boss as much as possible, then get motivated to collect its shiny. Rayquaza has a shiny rate of 5%, which is 1 in 20. This is the shiny odds for any legendary or mythical that is in 5-star raids with a shiny form available. Now, this doesn't mean doing 20 Rayquaza raids will guarantee you a shiny. Instead, think of it as rolling a 20-sided dice every time you defeat it. Eventually, you will hit the right number. It could take you several dozen raids in order to encounter its shiny form, or it could take you just one. It's all going to depend on your own luck. Do keep that in mind, and make sure you curb your expectations. The ultimate goal should be to get multiple shinies, with a few of them being 96% IVs or better. Have a bunch on hand for lucky trades, as I'm sure you will be able to get whatever Pokemon you want if you offer it. Overall, it is always exciting whenever Rayquaza returns as a raid boss. It is one of the easiest, allowing more players in more areas to be able to defeat it, and it is quite the collector's item, especially its shiny form. I'm personally a fan of how Rayquaza has been treated as a raid boss. I would seriously love to see more legendaries that can be easily defeated like Rayquaza get released, as it typically rejuvenates people's enthusiasm for raids. One final note before I end this video, Rayquaza as an easy raid boss is also valuable for getting you 5-star raid item rewards with less effort required. Like, if you're able to do in-person raids, then you could easily farm up a ton of Rare Candy XL without having to use too many resources or form a large group. That's the unspoken beauty of Rayquaza. It is super easy, but the return is extremely valuable. Even if you have yourself a hundo or even a shundo, you should still do as many of these raids as you can. The sheer amount of Rare Candy and Rare Candy XL that you could get by raiding this Pokemon en masse should never be overlooked. Anyways, that's going to be it for this video. Leave your thoughts down below regarding Rayquaza returning to raids. Was there a particular tip that I completely missed? Definitely say so in the comments, and let's have a great discussion. And if you ended up enjoying this video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if it's your first time here, and don't forget that little bell so you can stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. And I want to give a quick shout out to my patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to support my channel in any way, big or small, then be sure to check out the links in the description below. For all my patrons, they get a permanent spot on my in-game friends list. So if you want to interact with me in some way, like with remote raids, then do consider becoming a patron on my Patreon. But yeah, that's going to be it. I'm Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, and I'll catch you all later.